Hey, it's Ellen, the Marketing Blondie, and I make videos about social media and internet marketing for online coaches and experts. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about how your lack of experience does not equal lack of authority. So I'm just going to go straight into it. So as we know, a lot of the success that we will have with our social media content is down to kind of being seen as an authority and as a leader. And if you are up against, the big players and you've kind of got a very tiny amount of experience or maybe no experience whatsoever, maybe you're just self-taught and you thought to yourself, I want to do this for a living. I want to share this. I want to teach other people this. I want to teach people these frameworks, these transformations. And you are just breaking onto the scene. So you have no experience. Does that mean that you are not an authority? So I think that it doesn't mean that you can't be seen as an authority very, very early on. In actual fact, you could be seen as an authority from day one. It doesn't really matter how much experience that you have, as long as, and I say this, I'll sing this till the cows come home, as long as nothing that you are doing or saying or sharing is unethical or untrustworthy or is ultimately not the truth. So I think it's more your lack of confidence in yourself and what you provide is gonna give you lack of authority. So you need to just make sure that you're showing up online and with your social media content in a way that's confident, you're comfortable with your voice, you have conviction, and you're also sophisticated. I think it's easy to kind of show up online in the beginning. You put your brave mask on and you kind of go into this big persona, and it can maybe come across a little bit cheesy, a little bit spammy, and a little bit untrustworthy. And maybe you start saying things that you shouldn't say about things that you haven't done. So I would always just show up with that kind of sophistication that is very honest and kind of transparent and humble. So be honest about the experience that you do or don't have. Be honest about the things you're doing that are or are not working, and share your journey, document your journey. Let people know what's worked for you, what hasn't worked for you. That's what I would say about confidence. So you need to really get confident with really just finding your voice online and getting into that zone and being comfortable about that. The second thing that I would say is your lack of belief in your own transformation could lead to a lack of authority. So if you're not, you need to be 100% sure. You need to bet your life on the fact that what you teach works. It needs to be pretty much bulletproof when used correctly. So I know that you can give someone a framework, and if they don't do it properly, obviously it's not going to work for them. That doesn't mean that your framework doesn't work or your technique doesn't work. It just means that the person didn't do it right. But you need to be sure, really confident that if somebody does exactly what you're telling them to do down to a T, they will be pretty certain that they're going to get the result. And if you're not 100% confident in that, that's really going to come across in how authoritative you are, because you're not going to want to shout it from the rooftops, and bang on about it and talk about it all the time. You're going to shy away from it because you're not sure that it works. So, and that's just going to have a massive impact in your online presence and your authority. Another thing that kind of leads to a lack of authority, and I'm so guilty of this, and I'm really hoping that once I put this out, I will have broken this habit. Lack of consistency is also lack of authority. And I've learnt this the hard way, because I have tried, I've launched this business, not really launched, but I've kind of done this business quite a few times over the course of the last couple of years. And each and every single time, I've never been quite sure. And what happens is then I'm inconsistent. So I'll get a few results and then something will come up, you know, a problem will arise and I won't know how to tackle it. And I'll think, okay, I'll just have a break. And then a week's break turns into 2, 3, 4 weeks. And then before I know it, I've ghosted my business and my audience for like 6 months. And I've done this. And what happens then, if you're seeing this video, then I like to think that would mean that I'm being consistent, because I think that the next time I'm inconsistent, I'm just gonna delete everything, because I don't want people seeing my content and then finding out that I've gone. So the thing is that when you disappear offline, or people can't rely on seeing you consistently, it gives you that lack of authority, because A, you're never top of mind, someone else is. You're only there when you're there, which kind of doesn't really make sense, but you're not there every day, so you're not top of mind every day. And secondly, if you keep disappearing offline and you kind of have long periods of not creating content, what does that look like for somebody who was potentially thinking of investing with you, or buying your course or your program or your membership or your one-to-one coaching or whatever it is? You know, it kind of looks like, for them, it's like, what if I give this person my money and then they disappear after 2 weeks because they decide that they want to break again? You know, when you show up day in, day out and you're consistent, maybe it doesn't even have to be every day. Maybe you show up every 3 days or every 2 days. As long as you do it like that for a sustained period of time, then you're gonna be seen as reliable and trustworthy. There's a few more things to discuss on this topic. I won't go on for too much longer, but your lack of passion can kind of lead to being seen as a lack of authority. If it's obvious that you don't really care, I mean, this kind of ties into the consistency thing as well. If you're not showing up every day consistently, then obviously you don't really care. Maybe your passion is not quite there. You know, you're obviously not passionate enough to turn up every day. So if you're kind of lacking that passion, and you're lacking that drive to do everything that is required of you, everything that it could possibly take to make your business a success and a reality, then that's going to come across in your lack of authority as well. So if you're kind of just dabbling and you show up every now and then, and if you treat it like it's something small, if you treat it like it's on the side, it's going to be seen as it's something small and something on the side and not really that serious. Like, if I was to invest in a program or a coach or a mentorship, I'm going to be completely honest, I probably wouldn't invest in someone who did it as a side hustle, because I know that their mind isn't 100% there. I would want to invest in someone who did it as a full-time business. You know, if I knew that someone only put an hour in or a couple of hours in a week and was sometimes there, sometimes not, and had other priorities, for me, like that for me gives you lack of authority. Like, I'm going to go to someone who's way more authoritative than you, who has way more of a leadership status, because you're not really giving me leadership status here. So that's what I would say on kind of your authority in the industry, particularly as a beginner. You really kind of need to nail these things. You know, being an authority, being seen as a leader, being seen as the go-to person, being top of mind, makes you that natural choice for somebody to kind of be attracted with you and to want to stick around. So I'll see you in the next video.